Welcome back to Foundation Physical Therapy's YouTube channel. Today we're going to use this stick to teach you how to squat, or at least start to squat, or even just lift a bag of groceries or a laundry basket or a small child, anything of substance. It's going to improve your body mechanics with lifting. It's going to take strain off your back, and it's going to teach you to start using your hips, which we find is pretty deficient in clinic. So it's a hip hinge, right? And it's just what it sounds like. It's hinging at the hips without rounding in the spine. So a lot of times when people pick things up, their first inclination is to kind of bend at the trunk and do this, and that does load the spine a little bit much. What should happen is, as you go to lift something, is you should first shift your trunk backward, or shift your weight backwards by pushing the hips back, and then you kind of come down closer, trying to keep the back flat. This stick can help for feedback. So what you do with the hip hinge is you basically stand up tall. You're going to take a stick, broomstick, dowel rod, mop handle. This is just a piece of PVC. And what you're going to do is place it against your sacrum, or kind of the top of your waist here, your upper back and your head, and then get your feet about shoulder width apart. And for starters, just try to get nice and tall and see if you can maintain that posture. Right, it doesn't have to be completely flat against your back. That's not necessarily normal either. You also don't want a big arch in here to get there, okay? If you have a real hard time getting your arms overhead, or getting the stick flat because of a lot of stiffness in your upper back, check out our other YouTube videos for thoracic mobility, and that'll definitely help this. But once you can get in this position, your feet are going to be shoulder width apart, and what you're going to work on doing is just bending at the hips. Okay. And this doesn't have to be a straight leg deadlift where the knees are locked out and you're kind of doing this. That's a different activity altogether. What we're talking about is functional training for squatting and lifting. So what you want to do is you hold like so, okay? And then you're going to bend at the hips. The knees are nice and soft, and they might bend some. And then I'm working on just getting this hinge down, right? And you may start out by just going to here. If you get to here and you find that stick starts to come off, then just work in that position, right? And learn to kind of move through the range of motion and get further till eventually you get to the point where you can get into a nice hip hinge position, and there's a little bit of bend in the knees. Now, once you get to here, right, this is your functional position, because if I just put down this stick and I stay in my hip hinge position, anything here I can work with. If it's a kettlebell to do deadlifts, it's here. If I'm working on improving my kettlebell swing, I still want to learn to hinge at those hips, so that when I come up, I come out of that hinge and then I go right back into it. Or if I'm just lifting my son or daughter, I can get down here, pick them up, and bring them closer to my body. So the hip hinge is not just an exercise to teach you how to kettlebell swing, how to lift. I mean, it's really functional training for anything you have to do throughout life. And the other thing that it does is it takes a lot of strain off your back and your knees. So try your hip hinge, see if you can do it. If you can, fantastic, use it throughout the day. If you can't, it's definitely something worth investing your time in.